Hi, I'm Kim Rayner from All About Spirit, and today is episode 37 of All About Spirit's Life After Cancer. And today's episode is called 1,000 Cancer Survivors Stories. And you know, when we get diagnosed with cancer, it impacts absolutely every aspect of our lives. It impacts our spiritual life, our physical life, our intuition, and our relationship with our own ability to be intuitive. It means a whole bunch of change. It impacts our emotions. It impacts our social life and our families. So there is... Oh, good morning, Mike. So when you get a cancer diagnosis, it impacts every aspect of our lives. And I created this show because when I was diagnosed with cancer, I was looking for a kind of support that I wasn't able to find in traditional support groups. So I created this show, and I hope that you join me. And thanks again, Mike, for joining me. You're one of my regulars, and I really appreciate that. So like I said, today's episode is called 1,000 Cancer Survivor Stories. And let me just start by telling you, in probably 1988, I started working for a company that facilitated support groups, and I became an administrative assistant for that company, and through that process I was trained in facilitating support groups, and I started working for Family Services, and I worked for Parents Anonymous for a while, and I facilitate a lot of different support groups. And one of the things that I learned is when we share our stories, there is a huge amount of healing that takes place. There's something so powerful in us being able to relate to other people who have had the same kind of experience that we have, who have had the same kind of thoughts and beliefs and ideas and fears that we've experienced. So the idea of 1,000 Cancer Survivor Stories is really born out of that idea, because not only do we heal by sharing our stories, when we're embarking on a new journey like this, we get so much hope from hearing from other people and how they navigated their process, how they walked through the process, how they dealt with life's challenges, how they faced what they needed to face. So I started this project to collect 1,000 cancer survivor stories that share people's experience, and it shares their strength, and it shares their hope. And you know, one of the other things that I really know is cancer survivors, certainly we are the ones who had the surgery. We're the ones who had the radiation and the chemo. We're the cancer survivors. But we don't do this journey alone. There are so many people that have walked with us along the way. And when we hear the words, "I'm sorry, it's cancer," they hear those same words too. So they also are survivors of the cancer story. And the 1,000 Cancer Survivor Stories is really... It's designed and developed to support every aspect of the cancer journey. Whether you're the person that had the experience, or you are the person who supported someone who's had the experience, or the reality is sometimes people are left behind. Sometimes people don't survive their cancer experience, and they're survivors of that experience too, the people who are... My hope is to collect 1,000 stories and to enter them into a part of the website that I'll be launching pretty soon called the Survivor Diaries, and also to put them into the compilation of a book, a collection of stories for people who have survived cancer or who have walked with people as they walk through the cancer journey. And, you know, if you have a story that you need to share, there's a whole bunch of healing that goes on in that. And that means that there's somebody also who needs to hear that story for whatever sharing they have going on. So this is a call out to ask you, if you are a survivor or you know somebody who's a cancer survivor, I would love it if you would reach out to me and share your cancer story with me. You can share it in a written story. If you're an artist and you've created some kind of picture, or you've taken photographs, or you've done sculpting, or you've written your own stories about your cancer journey, I would love to hear it that way. I would love to do an an interview with you if you are a cancer survivor and want to share that story. And again, you can be the person who had the surgery or the chemo or the radiation, or you can be the person who walked with them through their journey. I know when I invited my mom to share her cancer survivor story as a support person in my cancer experience, she was one of the people that I shut out of my life for whatever reason I chose to do that. So her cancer story, survivor story, is really different than mine. And there are other people who get shut out of the cancer survivor's life, and they don't understand that, and it would be helpful for them to have somebody to relate to. So my mom will be sharing her cancer survivor story as a support person who was shut out of the survivor's life. Some of the things that could be topics are, and I'm just going to look at my note because the topics are so broad and roomy, and I came up with a whole bunch of ideas. And, they include asking for help, being shut out of the process, how you navigated exercise, what happened with your finances, what's the difference for you between healing and being cured? How did this impact your spirituality? What are the things that you had to let go of? Because as cancer survivors, we all find that we have to let go of something. If the person that you love left the planet, how did you navigate that process if they were put on hospice? And after you were done being their caretaker, how did you step back into your life after that when the main focus of your life for so long is now not a focus of your life anymore? How did you pick up the pieces after they were gone? How did you step up into your life when you still had to face the challenges and you were walking through them? How did you do that? How did you surrender when you couldn't do the things that you used to be able to do? If you wanted to share some of the things that you wished you knew before you were diagnosed, what does it mean for you to be a survivor? How has your body changed in this process? What about your family and your friends? How did you navigate that? Did you do something different around your food? Friends who stayed with you and walked with you through thick and thin. Friends that you thought you would be with forever, who for whatever reason had to leave the relationship. And that could be family members too, who you thought would be with you forever and then found that they had to leave the relationship. Intimacy, how you maintained your intimate relationship. Hi Denise, welcome, I'm glad you're here today. How you're a support person for someone maybe who's young, who's had cancer. What it means to be spiritual when you're walking through the cancer journey. The role that your pets played in your life. Support in general, what did that look like for you? What did that mean for you? How did you continue to work? Or what did it mean to become medically retired for you? What are the special things you had to do when you went on vacation? What did work look like for you after you were there? So our experience and our range of experiences are so broad and so roomy. And, even if you think that you might just have a whisper of a story to tell, there's somebody that has the need to hear the whisper of a story. So if you want to become part of the Heal by Sharing, Hope by Reading Cancer Survivor Story Journey, that 1,000 Cancer Survivor Stories project, I hope that you'll get in touch with me. And you can do that by reaching out to me on the Facebook page, clicking the link that says email me, or you can send me an email at 1000 Cancer Survivor Stories at allaboutspirit.com. And again, the story can be your story. It can be the story of someone you love. It could be the story of a child that you're walking through the journey with, or siblings, or friends, or you could be a medical provider who has been doing this for a long time, or who just started doing it, and you have stories to share, and other people have stories that they need to hear. There's so much healing that goes on in that. And, one of the things I posted earlier this week, or I guess it was late last week, about a program that Harvard University is doing where they're looking at people who are medical anomalies, who survived unbelievable odds and are still here. And those people need to hear stories of other survivors as well. I'm one of those medical anomalies. There was a 30% chance of survival for that first year, and I'm still here. And I would have loved to have had people's stories who said, I beat the odds. It's different for me. I survived. So I would love to, I'd love to hear your stories. I'd love to have you put them together in a book and help me share your story, help me tell your story. So if you have a story to share, again, reach out to me, share it. You can share it in writing. We can do an interview. You can do it as a picture or a photograph or some artwork. I'd love to hear your stories. I'm so glad that you're here with me today, and I hope that you like this and share it, and I really hope that this one gets shared a lot, because that's how the stories will be collected. So thank you for tuning in today, and I hope that you make it a great week. And I'm just going to do a quick pass around the beautiful area that I'm sitting in today. It's a beautiful meadow, and I'm just going to do a quick pass so you can take a look at what I get to see. So nature has become a huge part of my survival story. That's why I try to be out here in nature as often as I can to do the show. So thanks for being here today. Make it a great week. And again, if you found something useful in here, or you know somebody who has a story they'd like to share, if you would share this episode, I would appreciate it more than you could know. Thanks for being here today, and I hope you have a great day and that life treats you well.